Everyone tells you to stop overthinking, that it's draining you, that it's irrational, that it's getting in the way of your life. But here's what nobody tells you. The same mind that keeps you up at night is also reading the people around you at a level most humans never reach. New research in cognitive psychology reveals something remarkable. Overthinkers don't just worry more, they predict human behavior more accurately than almost anyone else. Today, we're going inside the psychology and the neuroscience of exactly why. Here's the paradox. Most people treat overthinking as a disorder, a malfunction of the mind that needs to be corrected. And in some contexts, they're not wrong. Chronic rumination can fuel anxiety and exhaustion. But here's what that view completely misses. The same cognitive machinery that makes you replay a conversation 17 times is the same machinery that builds an incredibly detailed, accurate model of other people's minds. You're not broken. You're running a more complex program than most people ever will. Let's go inside the brain. When you overthink, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, prediction, and social reasoning, goes into overdrive. It runs what neuroscientists call mental simulation, a process where your brain literally rehearses future scenarios using past behavioral data. Think of it like a flight simulator. A pilot who practices every possible emergency in a simulator will handle a real crisis better than one who never did. Overthinkers run this simulator constantly, not purely out of fear, but because their brain is highly calibrated to map cause and effect in human behavior. Every what if scenario you've ever run, that was your brain quietly building a predictive model of the people around you. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Overthinkers are obsessive pattern recognizers. Where an average person notices what someone does, an overthinker notices what they did, what they didn't do, how they said it when they paused, and why psychologist Susan Nolan Hoeksema, whose research shaped how we understand ruminative thinking, found that people who reflect deeply on social situations develop what she called behavioral signature awareness, the ability to detect subtle, consistent patterns in how specific individuals behave. In plain language, overthinkers build a detailed mental file on every person they know. And when something is about to happen, a mood shift, a conflict, a decision, they often see it coming before anyone else in the room does. There's a concept in psychology called theory of mind, the ability to understand that other people have their own thoughts, feelings, motivations, and beliefs that are entirely different from yours. It's what allows you to say, "She said she's fine, but I can tell something is wrong." Studies measuring theory of mind ability consistently show that individuals with higher levels of reflective thinking, the kind overthinkers do automatically, score significantly higher on social cognition tests. They don't just observe. They inhabit other people's perspectives with unusual accuracy. This is called cognitive empathy. And it's different from emotional empathy. Emotional empathy is feeling what others feel. Cognitive empathy is understanding why they feel it, what they're likely to do next, and what they're choosing not to say out loud. Overthinkers are naturally strong in both. This isn't just theory. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who engaged in more reflective self-thinking, a hallmark of the overthinker's mind, were measurably more accurate in predicting the decisions and reactions of people they knew personally. A separate study from the University of Toronto examined what they called social prediction accuracy and found a strong positive correlation between mental simulation frequency and how well participants anticipated outcomes in real social interactions. The finding was clear. People others label as overthinkers were consistently rated as more socially perceptive by their own peers. They didn't just feel like they understood people. They actually did. If this is landing, subscribe. We go this deep every video. Let's make this concrete. Think about a time you sensed a conversation was about to turn into an argument before a single harsh word was spoken, or when you knew a friend was slowly pulling away, weeks before they said anything. That wasn't anxiety making things up. That was pattern recognition built from thousands of hours of unconscious social analysis. In workplaces, overthinkers often anticipate team conflicts, read leadership dynamics with precision, and predict project failures, not because they're pessimistic, but because they've already mentally simulated every possible outcome. In relationships, they often know what their partner needs before it's said out loud. The issue has never been their perception. It's been that the world told them their perception was a problem. Here's the philosophical question this raises. If you can see what others can't see, does that make life easier or harder? The ancient Stoics believed that clarity of perception was among the highest human virtues. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The quality of your inner life determines the quality of your outer life." But there's a tension even the Stoics understood. More awareness often carries more weight. The overthinker who reads a room perfectly also feels everything that room contains. There's a term in psychology for this, the burden of perceptive accuracy. The more precisely you understand people, the more you also absorb their unspoken pain, their hidden conflicts, their needs they haven't named. This is not a malfunction. It is the cost of a rare kind of intelligence. Now, full honesty. This advantage only holds when the overthinking is directed outward, toward understanding others. When it turns inward, when the simulation engine stops analyzing other people and starts attacking yourself, that's when it becomes destructive. The difference between productive and destructive overthinking is direction. Productive. Why did they react that way? What are they really feeling? Destructive. Why did I say that? They probably hate me now. The goal is not to eliminate the depth of your thinking. It's to learn to aim it. Because the same capacity that lets you predict people can trap you in loops of self-criticism if it has no external target. So what do you do with this? First, stop apologizing for your depth. The world needs people who think carefully about others, who don't take behavior at face value, who ask why second, notice when you switch modes. When you catch yourself in a self-critical loop, consciously redirect toward curiosity about others. Use your gift where it works. Third, trust your reads. Science has now confirmed what overthinkers have always felt. You often see what others miss. That instinct has data behind it. You are not too much. You are precisely calibrated for a world that moves too fast to notice what you notice. There's a line from the philosopher Soren Kierkegaard I keep returning to. The most common form of despair is not being who you are. For every overthinker who was told their thinking was a problem, the science is finally catching up to what you already knew. Your mind isn't broken. It's building something most people will never have. A genuine, deep, evidence-based understanding of the humans around you. Maybe the goal was never to think less. Maybe the goal was always to understand what you were thinking for. If this resonated, if you've ever felt like your thinking was too much, I want to know. What's one time your overthinking actually helped you read a situation correctly? Drop it in the comments. These stories matter more than you know. And if you want to keep going deeper into the psychology of how we think, feel, and understand each other, subscribe to the Behavior Lab. We'll see you in the next one.